Do you want to know how to have crucial conversations with children? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about crucial conversations. So in this video, we're going to talk about crucial conversations and what a crucial conversation is, and we're going to talk about the teaching self-government way of having crucial conversations with our children. Whew, that's a mouthful. So what is a crucial conversation? A crucial conversation is a conversation that needs to be had, that if it is not had will ruin a relationship, that will stop action, that will hold people back. Now, there are many types of crucial conversations. Sometimes crucial conversations relate to our feelings. Sometimes they relate to our actions. Sometimes they relate to our perceptions. Sometimes they relate to things like our aspirations, things we hope will happen. Usually people have crucial conversations in the workplace when they're working on projects together. It could be that one person has one role in the workplace and another person has another role in the workplace. And when they are working on a project, they sometimes have to get together and throw out ideas, maybe even criticisms to each other so that their project can be the very best, so that they can actually come together. See, all people are unique. Children are unique from their parents, and children and parents have unique roles. Years ago, I wrote this book called Parenting a House United. Well, actually, this is the second edition, which is a lot better than the first edition was. But this book came out in 2009 and has really changed the world since. But I got so many questions after I wrote this book. Questions like, yeah, but what if your child doesn't care? Well, what if they won't listen to you? What if they don't do anything you say? Then how can you teach them these skills? And I realized that people did not understand roles. I thought everyone understood roles, and that was just one of our mainstays of the fabric of society. But we've kind of lost an understanding of roles in modern times. And so I had to write this book called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. This is a great book to read as a family because it's a story and you learn the concepts through the story. And your children will actually get a lot of insight into how you think as a parent too. But we have to maintain our roles. Otherwise, we have a struggle with all conversations. In the workplace, if the person who has the authority to spend the money does not buy supplies for the office, then everyone suffers. And if no one can tell them in an appropriate way that there is a problem, that would be a crucial conversation, then how does the problem ever get solved? It can't. And everyone ends up suffering, sometimes even resenting each other, and soon the relationships in the workplace can become ruined just because there isn't a way to talk about problems. Well, a family is no different. We need to be able to have crucial conversations in effective, calm, and loving ways. I have been teaching self-government style of parenting now for a long time, well over 20 years. And people ask me all the time, Nicholeen, have you read this book? Have you read this book? Have you read this book? And honestly, oftentimes the answer is no. I do read a ton of books, but I don't read a ton of parenting books. Recently, at a 3-day parenting mastery training, which is one of my intensive teachings for parents where you can learn the whole teaching self-government system of parenting very quickly in 3 days, there was a couple there and they asked me, have you read the book Crucial Conversations? And I said, you know, I've heard of it, but I haven't read it. And they're like, Nicholeen, I can't believe you haven't read it. It is in complete alignment with what you are teaching. You would absolutely love it. So I put it on my mental list. Okay, I'll have to read Crucial Conversations. And it's by multiple different authors. It's been around for a long time. It's a really big bestseller. Don't know why I never got around to it. But finally, I read it, and they were right. I absolutely love it, because what Crucial Conversations does is it gets inside of your mind the reasons why you do certain things and how you end up trapping yourselves and trapping other people in conversations, and how you could change those conversations for the better. Well, I've been teaching parents that about their children for a really long time. So in this video, what I'd like to talk about is what Teaching Self-Government teaches that is in alignment with the teachings in Crucial Conversations. So if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know I teach a lot of skills. The book Crucial Conversations teaches skills and formulas, structures and frameworks that people can use in those really important conversations. Are there any conversations that are more important than the ones that you have with the people you love most? Your loved ones, your family members, those are your most important, your dearest conversations that you ever have. And when you are struggling in those relationships, it impacts every other aspect of your life, because the stress is something that carries over and casts a cloud on everything else that you do. So it is important to be able to have those important conversations in calm, loving, and understanding ways, even if we don't always agree. Now, ideally, we get everyone to a place where they can agree on most things, but people are different, they have different opinions, and sometimes even within families, we may end up finding that we don't agree on everything. So what do you do if you're a Teaching Self-Government family and you don't agree? Well, you disagree appropriately. These 4 children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government for children. They are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Disagreeing appropriately is the skill that a self-governed person uses with other people and sometimes even with themselves. When a person disagrees appropriately, they look at the person, they keep a calm face, voice, and body. Now that's a whole thing in and of itself. What is calmness? How do we get there, right? Step number 3, they ask, may I disagree appropriately? Or they might declare to another adult, if it's an adult, I'm going to disagree appropriately about something. If a child asks, may I disagree appropriately? The parent is prompted to say, yes, you may disagree appropriately. We want to teach our child to use this skill because it is the gateway skill to self-government. If a person learns how to disagree appropriately with another person, that engages their prefrontal cortex. It pulls them out of the amygdala portion of their brain so that they can actually connect and problem solve better. So they look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say, may I disagree appropriately? The other person says yes, and then they seek to understand the other person's point of view. So they say, I know that you don't want me to, whatever it is, because of this reason. And then they share their point of view, but you may not know this about me. And then they listen to what the other person has to say, and they say, okay, to whatever their decision is, and then they drop the subject. That skill is a skill that most children absolutely love learning. And that's because I always tell parents, when you teach your children to disagree appropriately, be sure that it works for them. Be sure that the majority of the time you're really listening, being reasonable and saying, okay, you know what? I think you can have your way. Then they will use the skill more. And when they use that skill more, they will use aggression, hostility, manipulation, attitude less. And isn't that what we want? So one way that children have crucial conversations with their parents is by initiating it with a disagree appropriately skill. But sometimes parents need to initiate a crucial conversation with their child. There are multiple ways that they can do this. Sometimes a parent may praise a child. That can actually lead to a very crucial conversation. Crucial in that the parent is giving feedback to the child, and it's positive feedback so that the child can repeat a positive behavior later or understand why something they did that was good actually was good for them. Another way that a parent might have a crucial conversation with a child is by initiating what is called a pre-teaching moment. In my TSG parenting course, which you can find at teachingselfgovernment.com, you will notice that I teach 5 different teaching styles to parents, and pre-teaching is one of those teaching styles. In fact, there's 3 ways to do pre-teaching. When a parent engages in pre-teaching, then they are preparing their child ahead of time to succeed. They're deliberately talking about an issue or a behavior before the time is coming when they actually need it, so that the child is more successful. People who pre-teach are really good at self-government. Another type of crucial conversation, and this is probably the one that most parents feel like are the most crucial, is when we are correcting a child. You've recognized a child has done or is doing something wrong. Maybe the child's going completely out of control. Then we need to have some other skills. We need some correction skills, or maybe some intensive teaching skills. These are other ways that parents need to learn how to communicate with their children and have important, crucial conversations in calm ways. All of these different styles of teaching that I'm discussing each have steps associated with them. I don't have time to go into all of them right now, especially because, the course is like 20 hours of content. There's no way that I'm going to be able to cover all of that on a YouTube video. But the parent teaches the child ahead of time, this is how I will correct you. These are the steps that I will use in those circumstances. So everything is deliberate and upfront. Now, there's another type of communication that also brings about some great crucial conversations, and that is parent counseling sessions. So parent counseling sessions are special one-on-one chats that you have with a child just about one issue. Maybe it's about bedtime, maybe it's about sibling rivalry, maybe it's about curfew or dating, or maybe even some other kind of touchy or personal topic that needs to be discussed, like hygiene or sexual issues, those types of things. Those are going to be best handled in a parent counseling session. This type of conversation is done with calmness and safety. In fact, all of the teaching and crucial conversations I've talked about so far are done with safety and calmness, of course. The parent helps the child invest in the situation and the solution for the situation. The child and parent have good, open conversation about what's going on, what their options are, what they can do. They might even use a SOTAS exercise, which is another teaching self-government tool for helping develop the prefrontal cortex and to teach problem solving, and can lead to other great crucial conversations about important issues the child is facing. Another way that a teaching self-government family initiates crucial conversations, maybe for the entire group or in a one-on-one circumstance, is by having meetings. The TSG parenting course helps you use these 4 journals. 3 of them are for meetings. You can see one of them is for SOTAS exercises, which I already mentioned, but then the other 3 are for the other 3 TSG meetings that we have on a weekly basis. So we have family meetings, couples meetings, and individual mentor meetings. These are times where the whole family group, or maybe the husband and wife, or maybe the parent and child, all have crucial conversations about key issues. And everyone is prepared for those environments, knowing these are the times we get together to discuss problems and come up with solutions. I could talk at length about all of these things that I've mentioned that will help with crucial conversations, but probably the best thing for you to do is just go to one of my full-length classes that's here on YouTube. The full-length class that I would recommend that you watch next is the one called The Not-So-Known Secret for Parenting Success. You'll get a lot more details about the skills and principles of self-government and how to start practicing self-government in your own life. Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.